Welcome back to What Would You Ask podcast. My next guest is the creator of Cheeked. Cheeked, I said. She was on Shark Tank Season 5, Episode 18. Not sure why I still need to know the episode, but we want to apparently be thorough for everyone and the exact location of the show. Cheeked is it's like, I think she described it, and she'll correct me, is turning kind of online dating upside down, right? It's a very creative idea. And it involves, business cards, like kind of flirty, cool, creative sayings on them that, I would think if I got one, I'd be flattered. I mean, what did I say? I've gotten tons of these and they all look really cool every time some girls ran up to me and said, here you go, Nick, here's one for you. And I'd go, oh, not another one of these cheat cards. I wish. My wife probably wouldn't think that was cool. But anyway, think about it. If you're not, if there's not instant interaction and you see somebody that is appealing, I think it's a good way to go for it, right? Just walk up, pop them in, and then you could check their profile out, once you get the card, or they can check out yours if you're handing the cards out. And it's safe. Either party has to exchange, emails and phone numbers and all that. So if you're not interested, you just do your thing, move on. And, I am happy to welcome Lori Cheek, get it, to What Would You Ask podcast. How are you doing, Lori?
I'm all right. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being here. I'm sure I didn't articulate the true value of Cheek as a business. So why don't we start off there and just tell everybody, or remind everybody, I should say, because these guys are diehard Shark Tank fans, what you brought into the tank with you that day.
Well, I did bring that idea that you were describing, but we pivoted since then.
Ah.
So we don't have those cards anymore. But it was a deck of dating cards. So I came up with this idea when I watched a colleague hand a business card to a woman. And I remember thinking, I want to take the business out of the business card and create these cards for dating. Couldn't stop thinking about the idea. And 2 years later, I launched it in May of 2010.
Well, we're going to hear about the pivot at the end of the day, so we're going to save that for as a suspenseful moment coming up. We sent out about over 500, received about 500 comments and all stuff. Once we announce the guests, they just send back stuff. And what we do is put that stuff together as part of the journey. Pre-tank, like what inspired you to join or try out? What was the audition process like? And then during the time in the tank, and then what's going on today. So let's jump right in with Jason from Stowe, Vermont. He wants to know, how difficult was the audition process and how long did it take?
Goodness. Well, a friend of mine had sent me the link. People forever kept telling me this is such a cute idea. It would be perfect for the Shark Tank. And I had hit a really, really intense brick wall that I needed to raise some money. So I filled that out online. Most people do it in person, and I closed my computer. It didn't take long, whatever I filled out. It was still 2012 or 13 when I did that. And a few months later, I got the phone call from LA, and they thought I had a great idea and wanted to take it on the show. But it took nearly a year. Like, I could have had a law degree by the time I finished the application process to get on that show. But yeah, from the time I filled that out online to the time I walked down that aisle, well, the hallway, not the aisle,
yeah,
it could have been a year. So it
Wow.
was extremely difficult.
Amy from Indianapolis, Indiana asks, what was it like heading out to LA? What was the experience like? How long were you there? And what did you do while you were there besides presenting?
I didn't do a lot. I kept walking around in circles, practicing my pitch. You got one shot on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So if you mess that up, you're out the door. And this was going to be a huge opportunity for me. But they flew me out to LA, stayed in a hotel with a bunch of the other people that were also filming over the 2-week period that same season. So it was interesting because we couldn't talk to each other. They basically told us, don't talk about the Shark Tank, but we knew everybody was there for the filming. So it was really hard because you'd find someone young that looked like an entrepreneur and you'd be like, are you one of us? So we all sort of became friends, but we couldn't really talk about anything until our episodes had all aired. But I've never been a bigger nervous wreck in my entire life for the 4 or 5 days I was out there.
Sarah from Macon, Georgia wants to know, what was it like walking down that hallway to the doors that open and then standing on that spot for 30 seconds while no one says anything?
The scariest 2 minutes of my entire life.
I
I'm
bet.
not exaggerating. And I've been scared in a lot of instances, but my heart was beating so fast that I thought it was going to be out of my throat. And I couldn't, I felt like I wasn't going to be able to talk. But, I had gone over that pitch that I could have done that in my sleep. But then, yeah, it makes it even more uncomfortable when you're in this like old country western stare off with these people. What felt like 5 minutes, I think it was maybe 30 seconds to a minute, but it was an eternity. So you're just getting even more freaked out. But
What are
it
they
was
doing?
intense.
Are they staring back at you? Are they writing in their books? Are they on the phone? What are they doing while you're doing it?
I don't.
Do you remember?
I don't even remember. I just remember being terrified, and it was making me more nervous because actually it gave me more of a chance to look at what was behind, which was this intense studio with these cameras and lights everywhere. And I
Yeah.
just kept thinking, this isn't just these 5 people that are going to be watching this. This is one of the most watched shows on primetime television. So there's going to be 8 million people watching this. And I think I shouldn't have gone down that aisle thinking about that. But yeah, that freaked me out even more.
So your presentation, I thought you knocked your presentation out. I thought you did a good job. You didn't fall apart. You didn't stutter. I thought you did a good part. Did you feel that too, or no? You didn't think that?
I don't even know I didn't even remember what had happened. And in fact, I didn't really know what I'd even said until I watched my episode. But it's funny, after my episode aired, the Twitter feed was going nuts about the cheeked robot that needed to breathe or blink. So I guess I wasn't myself. I mean, I wasn't like talking like this.
Well, I think so I watched it only about 12 times because that's what I do for a living. But I think that you seemed looser and more comfortable, shockingly, during your presentation than you did during the Q&A, because I think the Kevins out there and the Marks occasionally can be really, stern and deliberate and bold, and they just fired stuff at you. We don't know how it was all cut up either, right? We see, 7 minutes of the however long you're in there, 45 minutes or an hour or whatever. And it just seemed like they were firing stuff at you to rip apart the idea, which I think when I saw it then and when I see it now, I didn't think it was a bad idea. I think technology has evolved since then, but that was, 8 years ago. And you said you've pivoted anyway. I'm just wondering if when you started, because most entrepreneurs have problem somewhere in the presentation, even though they've gone over it 1,000 times with producers and changed it and edited it, and they should know it down pat. Their comfort level, or at least it seems like they're more comfortable after they get rid of that, and then they're just back and forth discussion. I don't think you ever had a chance to really breathe after that because it was like rapid fire, right? Is that fair or no?
It was intense. Yeah, and you can't sort of back up. So, once one of them is out, and I don't know what's going on in that show. They all have earpieces, of course.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the producers are like, oh, okay, take her down now because Mark already went this way. I don't know if they're really even saying what they believe. Like, I do not know to this day, but
yeah, it was interesting. Mike from Little Rock, Arkansas wants to know, were there any key points during your presentation that you felt let me try this again. Were there any key points of your presentation you felt were critical that the Sharks understood?
I think what they did not understand is how difficult it is to find a date, and even in a place like New York City, where there's so many people that are on top of each other. The chemistry thing and the magic of the way people used to meet, walking up to each other, asking, "Can I buy you a drink?" I don't think these billionaire investors that are married and in their 50s and 60s could even begin to understand what single people are going through to this day, because technology has really destroyed the way that we meet. And there's nothing left that's organic anymore. So I think it's that they didn't get that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have I have a friend who's um, an airline pilot, commercial. I was going to say fighter pilot. Yeah, he's a fighter pilot. He just flies around, shoots buildings down. He's a commercial airline pilot, and he's a good-looking guy. He's in shape. He's in his mid-40s. He's not married, no kids. He wants to get married. He wants to meet. He's a really good guy too, athlete. Um, and in prep over the weekend, I was talking about some of the interviews I had coming up, and this was one of them. And I mentioned it, and he said, "I would do that in a heartbeat." And he's talking about the cards. He's talking about, I would do that in a heartbeat. Walk up to somebody, because he's a little bit introverted. He's not really, somebody that would put any lines to anybody or anything like that. He's like, and plus, walking through the airports, I would definitely walk up to say, I see beautiful women all day. I would definitely like to walk up to somebody. I have no time right now. I'd have my captain's hat on. I have no time right now, but check out my profile. Maybe we can chat sometime, like something like that. That's kind of how he said it. And that's, you're right. I think they're so far away from that, because you're right. They're all married, and that doesn't compute to them, I don't think. And by the way, technology to them is the answer, not the problem. And in your industry, it's the problem. You know what I mean? Everything they're looking for is how do we use AI, and how do we, optimize things and quicken the process and all that. That's all how they're thinking, is move. Whereas you're right, technology has kept, our faces in our phones and our computers, et cetera. So where are we? Gary from San Francisco asks, was there any weak area of your presentation you thought would be concerning during the Q&A with the sharks?
I mean, the second I talked about how much money my business had made over the past 4 years, I think they were all just like, okay, this is a joke. Like, go back and get your job as an architect, and we'll see you later. So I couldn't change that. I mean, you can't go on there and lie about your numbers. Like, you've got to be honest about everything. You sign your life away when you walk down that hallway.
Yes. Well, you said 4,500 members. You said 1,100 paid. And then you said something like $56,000 over 3 years or so. That's kind of the story. And I think you're right. I think they were like, ho-hum. But you also made it clear that you invested $120,000 of your own money. Yeah. You're all in on this thing. You're early. You're not necessarily, developing something like this is not, I don't think 3 years is exactly, a senior developed business. You're still maturing. And I think you're right. I think they kind of soured on that. One of the questions that I thought was fair that you didn't get a chance to answer, because I think Lori came over the top, and Robert asked this question. He said, and he went out after he said this. He said, if I have the courage to walk up to you and hand you a card, I have the courage to ask you out. How would you answer that? Is that, I mean, that's
no way. And in fact, I mean, I'm extremely outgoing, and I'm not shy. In New York, when I was handing these cards to everybody I possibly could, I mean, I was still nervous going up to them, but you didn't have anything to lose. You weren't interrupting that person. You don't know if that person's married, gay, straight, wanting to date. Like, you just hand this card and walk away. It's like the easiest, low risk way to tell someone, I think you're attractive and I want to see you again. I'm intrigued. And that's not true. So many people are so shy to start. I mean, it's intrusive. And that's exactly why I came up with this idea when I watched my friend slip that card, because it was a non-intrusive gesture. He didn't interrupt these two women having their dinner. He handed a note that said, let's have dinner, on the back of his business card. So I completely disagreed with that. And yeah, I didn't get the answer to that.
Yeah, it's so, I think I don't know why it didn't compute with those guys, because I haven't talked to anybody that thinks that's a crazy idea. I mean, I think it's and I love the safe piece about it too. It doesn't have to hand out your number. You don't have to hand out your email. So, you could just, and then you have something that represents you, because you're the one developing your profile, right? I mean, you're putting the photos on there, the information about yourself. So I don't know. I didn't get that piece.
Well,
Monica,
also
go ahead.
You've seen the person. So it's not like whatever pictures I could put of 20 years back, you've physically seen the person because they handed you a card. They've almost touched you. So you've seen them.
That's a good point. No, that's a great point because, wait, I thought you were 50 pounds lighter.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah. Monica from Toronto wants to know, did you gravitate towards any of the sharks and stay away from others? I guess she's trying to figure out if you had a favorite shark that you wanted to go towards or one you didn't like.
I had my heart set on Mark Cuban, and I really thought he was going to get it more than the rest of them did. And you know what? He did. He was the one that was sort of arguing with them about
He
the idea,
was.
thinking it was a good idea. And then, of course, I said that idiotic thing about, I think I can change the population with this business, which I didn't. I really didn't mean that. I was just making a bold statement.
I loved it though, because it just, and you didn't even back off of it. But you know what? He was supporting you at the time you said that. Like he was championing your cause because you're right. He was telling others, no, she's not saying that. And no, that's not bad. Like when they said the 58 or 56,000, he's like, it's just 3 years, just started. And he was defending you on a lot of occasions throughout the show. And then you kind of lost him there a little bit.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm saving the world. Leave me alone.
I would just wish I could have rewound what I said, but like you can't change anything.
Yeah, it is what it is. So, Alex from New Haven, Connecticut wants to know, was there any misconceptions about the Shark Tank now that you've gone through the process?
I mean, I guess a lot of people think that the sharks know what they're getting ready to listen to. They think that they've done their research on it already, but I really think this is the first time when you walk out there that they've ever heard of this. So it's really interesting because a lot of people think it's so scripted and everything, but it's real. You have no idea what's getting ready to happen. And yeah, I mean, you don't know how long you're going to be in there because the actual segment is 8 minutes long, but some people are in there from 30 minutes. Some people are in there 2.5 hours. So you have no idea how long you're going to be out there sweating your cheeks off.
Just get that, sweating your cheeks off. Ashley from Huntington Beach, California wants to know, well, first she says, Laura, you kicked ass. I don't care what anybody says. That's in parentheses. And then it says, what was the most memorable moment on or off camera during Shark Tank experience?
I guess off camera, when they were doing the Q&A after you walk off the stage, and I don't think they showed any of that. I don't remember. I have a hard time watching my own episode.
Yeah, got it.
But I remember saying that these billionaire investors do not get this idea. Like I think I even called them old. Yeah, but and the other thing, okay, this was my favorite thing. When they were all done and Barbara was like, "You're the right entrepreneur with the wrong idea." She was the last one to go out. I was like, I can't leave. I can't leave without saying one more thing. So I looked them all in the eye and I said, "Trust you will all see me again." And then I turned around and walked out, and the back of my cheek shirt said my Amex is also this, or no, it said, "I'll make your stock rise." That was one of our banking cheat cards. Anyway, I was just trying to make a powerful exit.
I didn't see that. Did they leave that? Did they leave that?
Yes. In? They cut everything genius that I said.
Oh, that was good. I like that.
Yeah, I know.
So tell us about the Shark Tank effect. Did you have a rush on the website? Did you have people lighting up your phone? What was that like?
Crazy because we ramped up our website so it wouldn't crash, which every person that's going on the Shark Tank should make sure they've got the right bandwidth so your website doesn't crash in the middle of all these people coming to look at it. But we got through the East Coast, and then I went to sleep. And then I woke up the next morning and realized that our website went down when the Shark Tank aired on the West Coast. So I don't know.
Wow.
Stuff happens. But then the next morning, I remember, because I had a party when the show aired. I wasn't feeling amazing the next morning. And I remember waking up like, oh, this is the day after. So I immediately went to my computer and I couldn't believe what was going on. Like, I didn't know where to start, like Facebook, Twitter. I mean, Instagram wasn't even a thing then, but my inbox, even my LinkedIn messages, my inbox was flooded with like 90% of 3,000 emails saying this idea was genius. Whatever you do, don't give up. The sharks were out of their mind for not investing. And then the other 10% were saying, you must have so much bleach in your hair that got into your brain to come up with this stupid idea. I mean, there's haters out there, and like,
oh God.
it was entertaining, but you got to
Yeah.
have thick skin to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And, after being on national television, just getting torn to shreds, I don't care.
Gee. So did it result in paid members too?
Yeah, but you know what? I remember walking to the gym that day. I lived on the Lower East Side, and I was thinking, everybody's looking at me. Like, they're thinking, that poor girl, she's that cheeked girl that was on the Shark Tank last night. Even in the gym, I remember asking somebody, okay, I just have to spot check somebody. Did you watch a Shark Tank last night? He didn't watch it, but I don't know. I just felt like there was a huge cloud over my business at that point, and that's when I decided to maybe spin things a little bit. But yeah, we had a lot of users sign up, but we were in the midst of, by the time the episode aired, which was 4 months after I filmed it, we were already brainstorming about the pivot.
Got it. So let's talk a little bit more about the Shark Tank effect, not the one that blows up your website or puts dollars in your bank, but the one. So as I done this series, I've realized that, and my crack staff, 2 interns from a local college, they have realized through the websites that some people, even people that have received deals from the sharks, don't always have. And I know there's a contractual piece that ABC's got to be on your website, and blah, 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 and the 5,000 documents you guys have to sign. But they don't promote the fact that they're Shark Tank participants. Like, they don't have as seen on Shark Tank. I would think, and I don't know well enough because I didn't go through it like you did, I would think that has to be part of your business, because, and it's not just because it's the Shark Tank and it's a show, because some people look at it as a novelty and don't put any credibility in you because of your business happened to go on Shark Tank. And I'm not one of those. I think there is credibility. I'm going to tell you why. And I want your comments on this. The vetting process that you go through, that they do, and all those documents and all those months, that has to say something to a buyer, to a potential customer, that it's a viable business. Otherwise, you wouldn't be, whether you like the business or not is not the point, but it's a viable business because you've been vetted so many times by so many people. And this isn't just producers. Producers take this stuff and they call you up and say, I need 6 more documents, because it needs to go to the financial people or the lawyers. The executive producers are just holding your hand. It's the people behind the scenes that are doing the vetting. I would think after that's all done, it says this is a viable business. And I would have a plane flying around New York City if I had a business, and I don't, and just flying around saying, watch Nick's podcast. You know what I mean? I don't, and it was on Shark Tank. Do you feel like it helps your business? I don't mean, again, not the effect, but just being on it, or no, has no effect?
I definitely think it does. And I mean, it brought such awareness to what I was doing, even with our new idea. So I don't know. And that episode re-airs all the time. And it's re-aired all over the world. I mean, I think my episode was so brutally epic that they just loved my episode. But like, I've been flown around to talk about not giving up after what happened to me on national television. So like, I've been paid to speak.
Yeah.
And it's just another outlet for me to tell the world about this business.
Do you think so? I want to talk about what you're doing today, but I just want to finish this. So why is that? Because I talked to a bunch of people that say, oh, yeah. For example, I'll talk about the Shark Tank effects. Yeah, we did 10 times, 10x our normal, haul of sales. And then, we get a bump, or blip every time it's re-aired on CNBC or whatever it's on. And I say, how many times does it re-air? And they say, well, we're like once a year or twice a year sometimes. Then I talk to other people like yourself who would say, you're on like every 5 weeks. It seems like your episode is on. Why do you think? Is it because they're checking the ratings and you happen to be an attractive woman that's a little bit, different? And I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean a positive way. It's not just letting everybody walk over you. You say crazy things to Mark Cuban that no one's going to say. Is that the reason why? It's just normal television? I'm going to put the best product out there I can? Or do you think it's just a luck of the draw? I mean, it's got to be some madness behind it.
Yeah, I have looked. One of the Shark Tank participants sent our group, we're in a Facebook group that only Shark Tank people can be in. And they had like the top 200 episodes ever. So mine was in there. And I don't know if that's like, I forgot what number, like 86 or something. I don't even remember. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I imagine they're definitely looking at the ratings to know which ones to re-air or not. So I'm just one of those lucky people.
And there's like 1,100 and or 1,200 episodes. So
Yeah,
I mean,
there's a lot.
top 200 is pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about what's going on today. Let's talk about that pivot that you mentioned. Tell everybody what's Cheek doing today.
Yeah, so soon after the Shark Tank we had filmed, then it aired, so we knew what was really going to be chopped up and presented to the world. But like I mentioned, I felt like there was this huge cloud over my business, and we listened to the feedback of the sharks, and we decided to get rid of those cards because on one level they felt a little bit like a novelty. Like I still believe in this card idea more than anything I've ever built in my life, but it didn't take off the way I anticipated. So maybe we'll regroup one day and bring those cards back when it's a friendlier world that's not trying to stay away from each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, we thought we would leverage technology because clearly everybody wants to look at their phones. So we pivoted this into a Bluetooth dating app. So the whole idea behind our business was trying to create real world connections. And the way the app works is in a 30-foot radius. It's right here, right now, the only real time dating app in America that I know of that will tell you who's in a crowded bar, a gym, a coffee shop, on a street corner. It could be someone that you're biking past every morning. You connect immediately on the Cheeked app, and then you can communicate then later, or you can even walk up to the person and be like, hey.
Wow. So it's using GPS through Bluetooth?
It's Bluetooth. So
Yeah.
GPS is delayed when connecting, and it's not real time.
Got it. Wow, that's pretty slick.
Well, and GPS works like in a New York City avenue, so you wouldn't be able to see who's there right now.
Got it. So what is your membership felt like with the pivot? Have there been people that use the cards and now use the app, or?
We've had a lot of people migrate over. We've hit some serious struggles with the app for many reasons, and one main reason is because of COVID times.
Yeah.
Because people are not hanging out in crowded bars in a 30-foot radius. But yeah, we've just hit a lot of roadblocks with the technology of our app, but it's still, you can download it. And my partner and I and another gentleman also launched another app called Networked that is for business. So imagine LinkedIn real time. So if you went to a conference or something, you could find the people that you want to meet that are right there, right then.
Oh, that's cool. Networked with a D at the end?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Just like Cheeked. Excellent. And Cheeked is still Cheeked. Where does everybody find Cheek's app? Cheeked, just like the old one.
Right? Yeah. So it's CHEEKD on the App Store. We're not on Android yet, but I'm still looking at maybe spinning this into something that's COVID timely, where because right now it doesn't make sense, and I don't know how long this virus is going to last, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. What's the idea with it? Something they could do virtually? Like something? Yeah.
Yes, and I want to make it more organic than any of the other apps. I don't really want to spill my whole idea right here because I'm really serious about trying to find a way to bring it to life. But yeah, just to make something very organic. And it could even put the whole networking and business and friendships and dating in one app. So you could pick on what you want to do, and then you've got this organic way of meeting someone.
That's cool. That's really good stuff. Well, listen, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your time, and I wish you the best with the apps. And we'll look forward at Cheeked and at Networked. And thanks for being here, Lori. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I enjoyed chatting.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.